Good morning. My name is Paul Dawley. I'm the Chief Justice of the District Court Department. This has been a challenging, difficult year for everyone, but one constant goal in the District Court was to maintain during the pandemic a fair, equitable, and accessible court system for all. Over the past year, the District Court has been focused on keeping our 62 community courts open and accessible to the communities we serve. While the in-person court business has been reduced, we've ensured that the critical court business, criminal arraignments, mental health petitions, 209A domestic violence, abuse prevention proceedings, Section 35 commitment hearings for those who suffer from substance use disorders, that those matters, those important matters have continued. We've adopted essentially a hybrid court model, some of the work being in person, some of it being done remotely in order to maximize public access for the public to our court system. The District Court, as many of you know, is comprised of community courts. And most people in Massachusetts who experience the court system experience it in the District Court. In this past year has certainly been a learning experience for the court, not only in the court operations, but also giving all of the issues that have occurred in our society as well. One point I would highlight is that we have issued 12 standing orders during the course of the past 11 months. Those standing orders, they govern how the court operates, what court business is conducted. In every standing order, we have sought to examine the issues of equality and the potential for racial disparities in the way we conduct our court business. Whether it is for criminal cases or summary process cases, our efforts have been, and our goal has been, to make the court operations fair and accessible to all, particularly focused on communities that were disproportionately impacted by this public health crisis. Our goal certainly was not to compound that disparity, but rather to reduce it and to improve equality. Whether it was orders that suspended fees and fines in criminal cases, or setting up a diversion system for summary process cases with the executive branch, our work over the past year has been to provide fair access for all of the public and to promote more equitable outcomes. We've learned a great deal over the past year in terms of how our system responded to the pandemic, and I'm hopeful that we'll take away valuable lessons regarding access to justice and utilize these lessons in the future in our court system. Our plan in the District Court regarding addressing racial inequality really focuses on three important areas: education and training, civility, and data collection. And I think the most important things we can do in the District Court are to continue to educate judges, clerk, and court staff on all issues of equality, including racial, ethnic, and gender equality. And second, I think we need to create and work on improving a systemic culture of inclusivity, respect, and civility for all. And third, I think we need to do, frankly, a better job of collecting, analyzing, and publishing data. Now, in terms of the first issue of education and training, I'm proud of the work that the District Court Committee on Racial and Ethnic Fairness has done. The committee was formed 4 years ago. It's led by Judge Stacy Forts, and it's made us a better and I think a fairer court. We've instituted education and training for newly appointed judges. We've asked judges to take an implicit bias test. We hold annual conferences that focus on racial injustice. We hold trainings on fairness issues and jury selection. And we've learned from amazing speakers on issues of equal justice. This type of training and education and engagement opens minds, and I suggest leads to better decision-making by the decision makers. The second point I would make is I think we need to improve on a court-wide culture of inclusivity and respect and civility. And to me, and I know from speaking to district court judges and clerks, this equates to human decency and frankly, professionalism in our court system. And I have to say, the idea that any lawyer, litigant, juror, or court employee feels disrespected, as was outlined in the recent SJC lawyer well-being report, that is repugnant and it cannot be tolerated on our system. That type of conduct has no place in a justice system. And our system has to stand for fairness and equality for all. So I think this is an area we need to put more resources, frankly, more thought and greater commitment into improving our system. It's a critical component, not only to our system and what our mission is, but it's a critical component of public confidence in our system. The third point I would make is to address racial inequality. I think we need to focus in collecting, examining, and publishing data. The data informs and educates all of us. In the district court, we've recently examined data regarding specialty court participants, Section 35 commitments, 209A proceedings, criminal arraignments, and bail and dangerousness decisions, the composition of jury pools, and criminal case dispositions. This type of information is informative, it's educational, and we all learn from it. So going forward, my hope is that we develop more improvements, that we bring resources and tools and training to bear to gather more accurate data that we can publish on a regular basis and provide public access to it. One of the responses to the Harvard study was that, frankly, for the district court, the data in many respects was incomplete. And I think that has to be an important point going forward. Chief Justice Gantz deserves great credit in the Supreme Judicial Court for requesting the Harvard study. It's provided us valuable information, in particularly for those who are decision makers in our system, clerks, assistant clerks, and judges. And it's a strong reminder and a strong lesson to us that justice has to be fair and impartial. We need to eliminate disparate treatment, and that the consequences of our decision making, regardless of the type of case, can have profound personal consequences, not only on people's lives who are party to the cases, but also to the communities we serve. And so this concept of equal justice, it cannot be illusory or just a phrase. Our work has to be committed to fairness and equality. And I think one way that we can improve our work is to develop that data and really study it, because I do think it's informative. A large takeaway from the Harvard study, to me, in addition to the inequalities cited, was the lack of a system-wide effort to collect, study, and publicize the data. And I'm really pleased that Chief Justice Carey, this is a primary goal of hers going forward as well. And finally, I would say, in terms of advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion, I think there are a number of things that we can focus on as a system. Certainly, one is to eliminate language and cultural barriers. I think we need to be vigilant and maintain our jury system, requiring fair and impartial jurors, and make sure that jury pools reflect a fair and cross-representation of our diverse communities. As I said, I think we need to collect and study data and then publish that data. I think we need to focus and support educational programs so that all court staff, judges, and clerks can continue to learn and create environments that are more inclusive and respectful. for, frankly, racial and cultural differences. And I think it's important that we continue to work on creating a diverse workforce. It's important that our courts be staffed with personnel who reflect the racial, ethnic, and gender composition of the communities that we serve, and that we create an environment that's respectful and inclusive for all. And lastly, I would say that our ultimate goals have to be on fostering a court culture where everyone is respected and where we have a system where every case is handled fairly and impartially, because that's the essence to me of our justice system. It's the essence of the district court. That is the community court structure that we have in Massachusetts. And so I look forward to working not only with judges and court staff and clerks, but also the public in achieving these goals.